Shalom, shalom. Welcome to Supporting Yah's Cornerstone. My name is Heshra'ah, and that name means moved by Yah. So in today's video, it's just a continuation of the first video about defining gossip. What is gossip? It's important to know what gossip is and what gossip is not. So for many years, I did not have that topic really straightened out all the way out in my mind. And what it does is when it's not straightened out in your mind sometimes when you do need to speak negatively of someone and you need to deal with a situation or you need to handle something, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you do have situations where you need to warn someone about a person's behavior. And sometimes you may not. Or sometimes it may be the opposite, where you speaking and it's really gossip, but maybe you don't understand what that is, or that you need to just stop doing it and be mindful of what you're saying that's negative about someone, and it may not be true, or you need to be careful repeating information, especially negative information about someone. So this is a continuation of just finishing the last video defining gossip. So in this video, I'm going to talk just a little bit more about that and about the dangers of gossip, and also the damage it can cause. More so the damage it can cause. So gossip can cause the separation of people in an unrighteous way. And why is it important to understand in an unrighteous way? Because sometimes people need to separate from each other. Sometimes that's Yah's will. So, but in a gossiping type of sense, most of the time, the separation that causes when it happens is unrighteous. And so it's very important to know the difference and to understand the difference. And I'm talking about this, and this is a channel for the Hebrew Israelite Sisterhood and for women, because we have a lot of we experience both within the Hebrew Israelite Sisterhood, gossip, and also the years I've seen where people needed to warn people about the conduct of or character of someone, but they didn't. So I'm not sure if there wasn't an understanding that that's not gossip. You know, to warn somebody about somebody's conduct and character, or you may need to go talk to that person about their conduct or character. So sometimes within the Hebrew Israelite Sisterhood, we don't always handle things in the right way on either end. Okay, you may have, so in other words, what I'm saying is you may have a set of sisters over here that's being quiet. They never speak ill of anyone. They never really address anything, and that's bad too. So maybe there's a confusion there, I think sometimes. Oh, I don't want to get in that person's business. But that's a part of our job. But there's a right way to do that. And so if Yah's will, I'm going to try to go over that in a video next week. But gossip, negative talk about people, whether if it's false, it definitely can be horrible. Because not only are you spreading negative information about somebody, it's false. If it's true, then there's a way to deal with that. But gossipers, their goal is not really to deal with anything more so than just cause somebody's reputation to go, to be bad, and to just entertain themselves with other people's problems. Or sometimes people use gossip to make themselves look better. By bad-mouthing other people, they feel like it highlights their good points and causes them to look better. So it's different reasons why people participate in that type of thing. But I wanted to be clear. Gossip can cause unrighteous separation, and that's not good. To cause divides or cause people not to talk to each other, or cause people, division in an unrighteous way. And that's what gossip does. It doesn't mend, it tears apart. And it doesn't even mend or help the people that's being talked about in the gossip. The book of Sirach, chapter 28, verse 13 through 26, talks about gossip. Sirach is a part of the Apocryphy, which is separate from the Apocryphy is not included in the King James Version of the Bible. It's included in the Apocryphy. If you have a Catholic Bible, you can find it in there also most of the time. And then sometimes it's different Bibles that include the Apocryphy, but it's the book of Sirach is where I'll be reading from. Excuse me. I'm moving my camera. But Sirach chapter 28, verse 13 through 20. And it says, "Gossips and liars deserve to be cursed, because they have been the ruin of many people who were minding their own business. Many have had their lives ruined and have been driven from their homes because of people who meddled in their business. Such unwanted interference has resulted in the destruction of strong cities and the homes of respected people. Meddlers have caused faithful wives to be divorced, robbed of everything they had worked for. Anyone who pays attention to slander can never find peace of mind. A whip can raise a welt, but a vicious tongue can break bones. More people have died as a result of loose talk than were ever killed by swords. Count yourself lucky if you have been spared the experience of having irresponsible talk directed against you. If you have never had that iron yoke around your neck or those heavy chains on your legs." So it's saying count yourself lucky if you've never been gossiped about or things of that nature. So, and Sirach speaks ill of that type of thing. And it can literally ruin a person's life. And then another thing to consider is the scripture in the Tanakh. It speaks over and over again about not being a false witness. Okay. And when you gossiping and you don't even really know if what you're saying is true, even when the Creator heard word got to the Creator about what was going on in Sodom and Gomorrah, he went and sent the angels to investigate it. That's how they ended up at Lot's house, investigating what was going on in Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay, so the Creator a lot of times investigates to see if it's true what's being said about a people or about a person. And so he wants us to be like him. And so when people gossip, most of the time you don't even know where that information came from, if it's true, if it's not. A lot of times we don't know any of these things. And a lot of times they haven't themselves taken the time to even find out. And then if it is true, how do you handle that information? A gossiper or a person that's participating in gossip, normally they don't handle that information properly. Normally they're not going to pray for nobody or wishing anybody well or anything. They just happy for whatever reason that's happening to that person, or taking some type of pleasure in it and going about their day. And that's not good. So Sirach speaks of people who gossip and those they hurt or are hurt by their gossip. And that's what I just finished reading. It talk about how it can separate marriages, and cause people reputation to be ruined. you know, and it's hard sometimes to rebuild your name, you know, and so that's something we have to be careful of, that we have to know that our words have power. So my advice concerning how to deal with gossip. Number one, don't participate in it. And I mean literally, don't participate in it. When you don't participate in a gossiping conversation, normally people kind of pick up on that a lot of times without you going any further. And a lot of times they won't say certain things to you because they know that you're not going to participate in the conversation, period. A lot of times they get the picture. Now, sometimes they will get upset with you too, but that's okay. Now, another thing you can do is respond to it and say, ask the person who's gossiping, have you talked to that person about the issues that you're speaking of? Have you talked to the person that you're telling their problems? You know? Another response is, ask them, have they prayed for the person? Or you can let them know that I'll be praying for that person about that, about the issue you're speaking of. I suggest you do too. And a lot of times you'll get a surprise response because normally a person that gossips, they're not interested in the well-being of the person that they're gossiping about. And it's not coming, the negative talk, even if it's true, is not coming from the right place. Or you can say, I hope their situation gets better. Another thing, you can speak to the slanderer or gossiper about the type, about having that type of behavior, about how you shouldn't gossip. You shouldn't randomly be speaking negatively of someone to just random different people. Or understand what you're saying when you're repeating information and you're accusing people of something. Or you're saying something negative about their character. Why are you saying it? You know, is there a purpose? You definitely should be getting enjoyment out of it. So you can talk to them about that. Another thing I would suggest, pray before you talk to the person. If you're going to somebody about a character flaw, especially about gossiping or being a talebearer, sometimes we can get nervous having to do that. So I would suggest, and I've done this many times, not particularly on trying to talk to somebody about gossiping per se, but on different things sometimes that I knew I need to go talk to somebody about. A lot of times I will pray that Yah would allow me to say what he would say to them, what he would want them to know. And so that way the Creator can help guide your words. It might even give you the words to say through somebody else. You know, he may send a scripture that you need to say to that person or anything. So pray before you go talk to them. But that's something to do. Instead of, is to go to the person and talk to them about, you know, gossiping and how it's not good to do and why, and that, you know, you hope they work through not being that type of person. If you gossip, if you yourself gossip or participate in it, be mindful of the scriptures that's been spoken about in the previous video and in this one. And understand that your words have an impact on the lives of other people, either in a good way or a bad way. Now, keeping in mind, I really want this to be understood. I'm not saying that any negative thing you say about someone is gossip. That's not what I'm saying. It's what you're saying. Is it true or not, first of all? Number two, what is your intent? It matters. Okay? it matters. Who are you talking to? Who are you saying it to? If a person has conducted themselves in the wrong way or something negative in their character, there's a way for that to be handled. And sometimes other people do have to be told. But there's a way to know and a way for all that to happen that will cause everything to end in a righteous way. Even if that way means that somebody has to be separated from one another. But the goal is that relationships can be mended. And then if information is false, the Creator tells us don't be a false witness. So that's another thing that we stand guilty of if we in the spirit of gossiping. We're not finding out if it's true or not. We're not observing to see if it's true. Gossiping comes from a bad place. Okay, it comes from a bad place in the mind. It's not coming from a good place that's going to lead to a righteous end. It's coming from a bad place that's going to lead to a bad end. And so I'll try to explain this more, if y'all's will, next week, so you can definitely understand what gossip is not, because it's important to know the difference. But just remember, be mindful of your words. Your words can impact others. Remember that. Remember, we reap what we sow. Work to sow good seeds. Psalm 62:11-12 says, Yah has spoken once, twice have I heard this, that power belongeth unto Yah. Also unto thee belongeth mercy, for thou renderest to every man according to his work. And so that's something that you want to remember. You wouldn't want somebody viciously saying something about you. Okay. And I'm going to give you a little example of a situation that I've been in and someone else was in that was relating to gossip, but how it was handled and it came out okay. And I have a good few stories I could tell like that because it's so important to know the difference. Gossip damages, and most of the time the people that's gossiping intends for it to damage. Okay, they're not intending to see if things can come together first, either through lack of knowledge or whatever the reason is behind it. Most of the time, that's the intent. The intent is not to see can things be mended or can things be changed in a good way, but it's intended to damage most of the time. That's what gossip does, damages. Okay, so story number one, and I'll try to make it quick so the videos aren't too long. I was talking to my aunt, one of my aunts one day, and she was saying that there was a lady on a job she was working for one time. And the lady would come to work and she would smell bad. And so most of the people in the office just talked about the lady, how bad she smelled and things like that. So my aunt said one day, I didn't want to just sit there and talk about the lady. So she said one day she pulled the lady to the side and she spoke to her about it, about how she smelled and I think about wearing deodorant and things like that. And so she talked to the lady herself instead of participating in the gossip. And what happened from it was the woman appreciated it and she started to smell better. Okay. Now, how she ended up telling me that story was that I called her because someone told me, and the someone that was talking to me, we were both associates with an elder at the time. And I knew this lady, I didn't never know her to be a gossip. And I knew she cared about the lady she was speaking of too. So I want to say that. But she saw me one day and she said, people are saying that when so-and-so comes to town, or when they come to shop from out of the country area, that they are smelling like urine or pee. Okay. And so I listened, and that just really bothered me. Now, I would see the person, and it was an elder. I didn't see them all the time, and it might have been a while at that point since I had last seen them. But it really bothered me. And so I had called my aunt, and I knew my aunt always helped a lot of people, and I just figured she would know. I didn't even know. I guess the whole thought of a conversation with the elder bothered me. And then I didn't quite know what to say, then just to walk up to her and come out and say, so-and-so says that you smell and da-da-da. I just didn't even know how to begin that conversation. So, and this has been years ago. That elder has since passed away some years ago. But I called my aunt and I talked to her about it. And that's the story she gave me about the coworker she talked to one time. And I remember just on the phone telling my aunt that I don't want to hurt Miss So-and-so, And I just remember starting to cry, even on the phone, just thinking about it, And she said, baby, she gonna know that you coming from a place of love. Don't worry about that. She gonna know that. You go talk to her. Ask her to allow you to help her bathe. And just talk to her about it, and it'll be okay. She gonna know you're not coming from a bad place. And so I got off the phone with my aunt, and I talked to the elder. There was another elder there that they were paying to watch over her. They both were elders, But I talked to her, and my aunt was right. She did not take it in the wrong way at all. She agreed to me helping the other elder to help her bathe and everything. And everything worked out. And so I just wanted to get an example of how somebody gave me a piece of information that I think some people might have gave to her as gossip, but how it evolved into the situation being handled, and not just me or the other person randomly spreading the information of so-and-so smell bad. Oh, so-and-so smell like this or that, And that's what, how negative situations and negative things about people sometimes that a person can say, how you can take that and come to a resolution about it. Solve the problem. That's the goal. The goal is in this day and time, in the world we live in, that's not guided by the Creator, you're going to have to speak negatively about someone. Okay? But you definitely don't want that to be in the mindset of gossip. You want it to be in the mindset of praying for them, helping their situation to resolve if you can, or at least praying for them from afar, or if it's something the Creator's doing in their life, hoping that when they come through it, that they learn what the Creator wants them to learn and they change. Okay. And so there's definitely a difference in between negative talk that's gossip and that comes from the wrong place, and negative talk about people that's coming from the right place with good intention, that you're coming from a good place and you want and your goal in your heart, in your mind, is that it get resolved. That they're able to resolve it. And if Yah uses you to help that, then there's a way to do that in the right way, which is still not spreading it around to everybody. That's the last thing you want to do. The Creator has a way that He likes us to do that. And the last thing most of the time is for it to be randomly spreaded negative information about a person with everybody. Normally that's the last result. Or one of the last steps. And so next week, if y'all's will, I'm going to talk about what gossip is not. And hopefully I get to talk about too, resolving how to help people taking negative information that's true and how to handle that. How to handle, which I touched a little bit, which I touched a little bit at the end of this video just now. But hopefully I can go a little further with it in a video next week. So I hope this was in some kind of way helpful. I want to encourage you that if you yourself has participated in gossip, or you find through listening to these videos that you are a gossip, then the thing is to just repent of it and work toward not doing it. Now, when we're used to doing something, we've made it a habit. So sometimes it can take some time to break a habit. But I know you can do it. Many of us have done it. I know you can do it. It takes a little thought at first. You have to really slow down your talking sometimes first. But once you get in the habit of not doing it, then all you got to do is just maintain. So, and I wish you well and pray y'all blesses your way for those of you who have to work on that. And it will help the more of us that work on that have those issues. It'll help build a stronger sisterhood, and we'll set a better example for the world also, for the world to see. Thank you for your time. If you would like to contact me, you can email me at yazcornerstone@gmail.com, yazcornerstone@gmail.com. Or you can also follow me on Instagram at Supporting Yah's Cornerstone. And there's also a Facebook page called Supporting Yah's Cornerstone. Right now, mostly I post here on YouTube, and you're welcome to leave comments at the bottom of this video. And then I do post some on Instagram. I don't post as much on Facebook, but you're still welcome to follow me there, and I hope to have at least upload these videos there too. But please feel free to leave video suggestions. If it's something that I know about that I can talk about, I feel comfortable that I can talk about, then I will. So please leave suggestions. Please consider subscribing to the channel, and thank you for your time. Shalom, shalom.